This season
Yeah.
rests on what happens in January. So Super Arch. I wonder what will. I wonder what will
I mean,
happen
what do you
in
think? I
January.
mean, I saw Andy Mitten yesterday was kind of sort of saying that he's not sure that too much will happen
I don't think it will. I just don't see
in
how it
January.
can. The reason why I don't see how it can, again, market opportunities, things happen that maybe wasn't available at the end of at the end of December or whatever. But I don't see like what it is that we're looking for, what we want to do. I don't know how you find that. Plus, move the pieces of the puzzles the other way because we are operating. People forget we're operating off a limited budget here. We spent big in the summer. We have one game a week, not in Europe. So, what capabilities do we have? Cobby's banging down the door to get out on loan. If you give into that and say, all right, go out on loan, how does it help us? How does it
You
free
might
up
go loan
space
for
and
loan.
resources?
Yeah, you might go
Only
loan
that's what I'm
for loan,
saying. Loan for
something like that.
loan. That's the only thing you can do there. How much does it make us better, depending on the type of player you get on the loan for loan? What type of midfielder can you loan until the end of the season? None of our
Well,
big targets, that's for sure.
this is what Andy Mitten was saying yesterday. Yeah, he said United know which areas they want to try to improve. United want a couple of central midfielders, another attacker on one of the wingers, and a central defender. These won't happen overnight. It's still probably 2 or 3 more transfer windows before the squad looks as complete as how United want it to look. If United can get to that point without changing coaches, even Andy Mitten admitting that
Yeah,
results are going to
he's not
dictate
safe.
that.
Yeah.
He also said, I said a few weeks ago about Elliot Anderson being United's number 1 target, and that is true, but Manchester City also want him because he's very, very good. Other clubs want him too. United have other targets, and they are well ahead of knowing what they want in the market. United will likely have money, and they know what players they want. And this was my concern about the Elliot Anderson stuff is we always think about, obviously United want him, but how are we going to be in the position to compete? Like, what's that going to look like? For all of that stuff too. He also then said, "I'd be surprised if there's movement in January, but I wouldn't be stunned. But the types of players that United are going for are exceptionally good, and their clubs do not want to sell them in January. There was a needs must situation 5 years ago when form was so bad that they needed to go out and sign Bruno Fernandes. But I'd be surprised if a main target came in January. I'd happily be proved wrong. You fake fan, Andy Mitten, don't believe." He says there's smart people at the club working on the type of deals they'd like to do, and lots of agents offering their players to United. I've spoken to them and seen some of the correspondence. A polite thanks, but no thanks for certain players, which is quite interesting.
Andy Mitten's so in there, isn't it? It's a joke.
Yeah,
He's basically saying, mate, I've seen emails and texts and stuff and WhatsApp saying like, do you want? I'll bring him to United. And I was talking to Jason. He showed me his phone. He's like, look at this, Andy. Told him no.
But that goes to show, then, doesn't it? Like you said with the January stuff, and this has been put out there before, I think by Laurie Whitwell and others, that if they're not on the list of who United want, they're not going to do what, say, Ed Woodward or John Murtaugh would have done in the past, whereby, how are we doing this season? A bit shit. Right? What agents are talking to me in January? You've got a player available? Yeah, great. Let's bring him in and see what happens. They're not interested really in doing that. He's basically saying they're only interested in doing big deals, and you don't really do those big deals in January, pretty much. So, like you said, it might be like a loan thing. Maybe Cobby does go out on loan, and maybe you do get Conor Gallagher in on loan, or you do get someone else in on loan. But as far as that big, not even like Elliot Anderson, but I mean even like a sort of 40-50 million pound side, that's not happening in January. It's not going to happen
unless there's something that's just so good to turn down. You have to find some money. It's just it ain't going to happen.
Does that worry you then? So we're talking about how we've for whether or not we deserve it, whatever, the way the league's gone, we find ourselves in the position to compete for those European spots. If you did go and show a little bit of ambition, you could really nail that down. You could really go and secure those spots. But if we're sort of saying, well, United aren't going to do that if it's not the right signing, and we could stay with what we've got, is what we've got enough to get those European spots?
Both things are true, innit? What we've got can be enough if they show a little bit of consistency, if I'm honest. Like they can, because other people got a lot more things to worry about, like I said, with Europe and stuff. You guys are fresh. Show a little bit of consistency. This league ain't that great this year. You can get in the top 5. It's there, like you can. Obviously, the reasons why we say we can't is usually down to ourselves, because we go, look, we can't even fucking beat West Ham at home with 1-0 up. Can't beat Everton with 10 men. Do you know what I mean? So it's on us. Like those games were there to be won. that game against West Ham was there to see it out. We didn't lose that. We didn't lose that because we need more signings. We lost that because of fucking idiots. So we lost the points. Do you know what I mean? A little bit more streetwise, you know, and a few different decisions here or there is what is the difference between 5th and 10th. Like, do you know what I mean? Now, being a good team over a long period of time in a good settled league and trying to achieve what we really want to achieve, the difference in that is transfer windows and buying better players. That's true. But we're only talking about, what, 5 months, 6 months to get through to the summer. We're not talking long term. So that bit's true. But then the other bit's true of, yeah, but to make us better, who'd you get? It has to be people that actually make us better. And if you can't get them, like we want Anderson, we want Belabel, you want Wharton. You can't get, you even want Stiller. Can you go, where's he from? Stuttgart?
Stuttgart.
Yeah. Can you go to them now? And do we have 45, 50 million now to get him? And if you do that, you have to sell Kobe Mainu and get that money, but you have to sell Ugarte. We don't have it. We don't have it. So what will probably happen is people will get angry at us not doing the thing.
I was just about to say,
we can see already we don't have that.
I think that January will be one of those ones again, because it's like teams will do business. It's Premier League, right? Teams will do business because teams, whether mid-table teams, relegation teams, or teams going for those, you know, Champions League or Premier League title positions, they'll have the same feeling or discussions that we're discussing now, where we're going, if we get a player in, that could be the difference between us finishing here and finishing there. So they'll go after players. And I just kind of worry that those teams will go buy players. So look at those teams in and around us at the moment. So let's say, I don't know, Chelsea will get some, because Chelsea always do. Chelsea get some players. Maybe Palace might get some players, or, you know, whoever gets some players. Tottenham, Newcastle get some players. And then we'll go, oh God, they're looking to improve. Why aren't we looking to improve? And heaven forbid the results then start to go negatively, you know, then it will be, because I could see a scenario where Ruben would be like, look, we're in 6th place. I need a couple of extra players. If you want me to finish in those Champions League spots, I'm going to need that player or two. But then I can also see the pushback from Ineos and those powers that be that will go, yeah, but you're going to need that money in the summer because we want to go get Elliot Anderson. We want to go get Adam Wharton. We want to go get, you know, whoever. But then again, the pushback to that might be, yeah, but we can only get them in the summer if I'm in the Champions League, and I need the players to finish in the Champions League spots to be able to go get those players. So it's kind of a chicken and egg situation, isn't it? Of like, all right, save the money because you want to spend it in the summer, but to be able to get those players in the summer, you're going to need to be maybe in the Champions League. And if you're going to be in the Champions League, I'm going to need those players to finish there. So I don't know. I don't know. But I do agree with you in the sense of I don't think we're going to be doing huge business in January. I don't think that's going to be the case. No. Maybe there might be like an injury or an absence that kind of forces United's hand in that regard, because that has happened before. So maybe that might be a thing. But I do generally kind of think that we're just going to have to make do with what we've got, unless we do, like you said, get a loan or something that's quite low cost. But they also then have to offer something to the team. Which is going to be interesting to see. So I don't know. I don't know what to expect for January, to be honest with you. I mean, he even says, to be fair, even Andy Mitten kind of says that there. He goes, well, all the sort of signs are saying nothing, but I could be proved wrong.
But you never know.
No one really knows.
Wrong.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. So if I was a betting man, or you asked me, held a gun to my head, I'd say we'll be as is. Minor things like the kids going out on loan, Malacia finding somewhere to go play some football and reignite his career. You know, we saw the reports that they'd already turned down an approach for Joshua Zirkzee from Roma. Again, I sort of, when I talked about that, I was like, have Man United turned it down because it's not enough and it's an option depending on Champions League football? Have they turned it down because even if they had £30 million right now, can they go and do something with that? Because if you can't, just keep him. You just keep him to the summer. Like, as much as we do the rate him thing and this, that, and the other, it means Ruben's keeping him. See, because he rates it, whatever. There's so many reasons why he could stay. Like, you know, what we have seen, he was dropped to the bench yesterday. Why is that then?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? For Acuna, who ain't playing that great. That's something right.
Yeah.
So we spoke about that because the rating's not really there. He's just got to go back to Acuna, get a shoehorn everyone in. Joshua, thank you. But because that's what it is for Zirkzee. We've said this a billion times. People try and paint it as something else. It's not that. He's just, like you say, with the other players, he's the lowest down the order. So he probably will want to leave soon because he's gone back to, after scoring a great goal against Palace, unlucky not to score again against West Ham, cleared off the line against Wan-Bissaka, bench.
Yeah,
for a player that we're just trying to get going who isn't really delivering.
Yeah, exactly, and that's why I mentioned pre-match last night. That was one of the things I was surprised about. That it was wasn't surprised about Mount coming in, because I was an advocate for Mount playing against West Ham, so I was glad to see that, and obviously he ended up doing well.